What if mastering communication could triple your performance in just days? Welcome to Glovisor Podcast, where we explore business growth, communication, and personal development through real conversations with people that make an impact. Our guest has trained thousands in advanced communication, NLP, and high-performance coaching. His work has helped organizations generate hundreds of millions in revenue, win world-class customer service awards, and elevate entire teams into peak performance mode. Glovisor welcomes Scott Maly.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here today.
Pleasure. Looking forward to the conversation. So, Scott, tell us, what is it that you do?
I work with teams, individuals and teams to help them grow their business, grow their sales specifically, and customer service scores as well, but really use whatever the most cutting edge tools that are out there to really help them take their sales and business to the next level. Got an absolute passion for it that I've really honed over the course of the last 30 years or so.
Wow. So this has been in the making for 30 years. How exactly do you deliver this process and you help these businesses get to that level?
Yeah, absolutely. I was really kind of introduced to it, like I said, about 30 years or so ago. I read the book Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins and just completely changed my perspective on communication. I was just out of school and really in my first sales role at the time and was just looking for some additional way of approaching communication. I read that book, Unlimited Power, and it just really changed the way I saw communication and saw sales. Not only enabled me to improve my sales, but it also helped me step into leadership roles, which came as a result of the results that I was generating. So I got promoted at a very young age into different leadership management roles as well. Eventually was promoted to vice president of sales and client services, and then vice president of operations. So saw all these tools working not only from a sales perspective as helping teach these tools to people who were at that time, especially much older than I was, and just saw the effectiveness of it. But also saw it as a leader as well in communicating your vision and where you're trying to go, and still remaining humble as well. Here was looking for, like I said, for a great set of repeatable tools, and that's when I stumbled on NLP at the time, and it's been a great set of tools since then. So
great. So can you get us all on the same page? What is NLP?
Yeah, NLP simply stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. So it's simply the language of your brain. So it's how our brains work, and it's proven to work over the years. And like I said, Tony Robbins, Myron Golden uses it, Jordan Belfort uses it. There's just a lot of great people out there, super sales professionals and business growth experts who have found it to be extremely powerful over the years. And myself, like I said, whether I'm working with since then have worked with customer service teams to help them completely transform their customer service scores and turn them into literally sales machines as a result of the skills that they've learned. So this stuff works for the new customer service person or the most advanced SaaS salesperson who has tons and tons of experience, or even a realtor who's looking for additional skills in the way they communicate. So it's super powerful.
So is the person learning NLP as something that they should do within themselves, or is NLP a process which allows you to change, let's say, the script of a salesperson when they're making those calls?
There's a few different approaches to it because there is kind of the internal approach. You've got to make sure that you're internally in a right state of certainty before you start speaking to any prospective clients at all, and before you do any type of outreach. So you do want to make sure that you've got that internal communication right. So, they say think positive. Well, NLP shows you how specifically to think positive. How do you create those internal images so that as challenges come up, you're able to create the future that you want? And so helping with that internal communication is key, but then it also helps with the external communication as well there to make sure you're communicating in the most powerful way possible.
Now, for yourself and your team, what is it that you do? Do you work with the sales organization to flip those scripts or to refine them, if you will?
Yeah, it really depends. It's that part of it's really kind of highly customized. I really just try and go in there and see, okay, where are the sales challenges at, and how do I blow those challenges out of the water? So a lot of time it has to do with the team's belief in themselves. That a lot of times is kind of the core thing that I help them with. And then it is then looking at their sales strategy as well. But as they say, success is 80% mental, 20% strategy. So I firmly believe that. So really helping them get in the right mental state every day. NLP is a great core set of tools for that. But then also making sure that they have the actual skill set, the right scripts, as you said, to be able to present in a powerful, powerful one.
You're saying that that's the commonality, that most times it's just the way people are thinking, and you need to make that shift first before you start working on the script side?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. It all starts internally first with the way we communicate internally before we can communicate effectively externally.
Yeah, how long does that take once you come into a business and you have a sales team and you recognize, as you said, the 80% of the mental side of it and how you have to operate that within? How long does that shift take?
Yeah, it really depends on the team, but typically within a week, I'm able to turn things around and start making an impact. Right away, I can start assessing, okay, who are the top players on the team, and how do we duplicate? What are they doing correctly? And then NLP teaches a great core set of tools also called modeling, which involves, okay, how do you identify the values of the top performers and instill that then in the people who are struggling? And typically there's certain things that the top performers are doing. There's a certain mindset that they're struggling with, and just really helping them with that. But really kind of at the core of it is really their internal belief in themselves and what they're offering, and that it has value. So a lot of times, especially in sales roles, they're dealing with a lot of rejection. And so it's very, very easy for people to internalize that and start to beat themselves up, and kind of start that downward spiral. So as a manager or a leader, being able to go in there and inspire them and start to turn that around is really key foundation wherever they're at in their sales journey.
Now, NLP has been around for some time, but I don't think that it has been embraced as much as it's been embraced in the recent years. When you approach these teams, have you found that there's some resistance because they don't understand NLP, they don't believe in NLP, or they think that NLP is something way out there?
Yeah, no, it can be an issue with some people, Joe. I find though most people now have heard about it somewhat. As long as I can get the leaders on board, typically that's where I start with an organization, making sure the leaders are on board, whoever that is, and kind of what the sales process is going to be. And if the leaders are behind the sales process and the technology, the NLP technology that I'm going to be training, I found that that's a great way to get everyone else on board as well.
It's a great strategy. Another thing is, I know you have an app that you've been working on. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a couple years ago, I got certified as a as a AI coach, business coach, and wanted to try and figure out, okay, how do I take, because I'm not an AI expert, right? There's plenty of experts out there, but how do I take what I learned in that sales coach training, which was beneficial? It was about 40 hours of training, and find some type of sales tool that combines the best of NLP with sales, this newest sales technology, like a chat GPT type of tool, but specifically for sales. So I met a woman by the name of Nadia. Nadia is based in the London area, and she's just an absolute genius with these types of technologies. So her and I started talking, and we talked about partnering together and creating Sales Genius. And it was just a fantastic partnership, and just we were just she knew exactly what I was thinking, and just created the perfect tool around it as well here. So because I was trying to think of something like that would really help even the newest person, because so many times I thought, especially as we were testing these tools, my gosh, I wish I had these tools 30 years ago when I was first starting out in sales. It would have made the process so much faster to have access to these types of tools, and would have saved me a lot of time and money and frustration and everything else. So these tools are out there, and so I'm excited to be partnered with Nadia and offer Sales Genius in addition to the other stuff that we do.
So who are you targeting when you're selling the app? Is this for management? Is this for the team itself?
Yeah, really anyone who's wanting to improve their sales performance. So we do work with a lot of entrepreneurs because they are in sales. Many don't realize it, but sales is a key role, especially when they're first starting a business, and they don't realize that they're in a sales role. So having a tool like that anyone can afford, no matter where they're at, no matter where they're at in their business journey, and also I would say independent sales professionals. So realtors starting real estate brokerage, anyone like that as well. So anyone kind of independent sales role as well would benefit from it. But really, anyone who wants to improve their communication and sales skills and sales abilities, managers as well definitely would benefit from it. But I would really say probably the biggest beneficiaries are specifically any individual person who wants to improve their ability to persuade and influence in an ethical way.
If one of our listeners wanted to work with you today, can you explain to us what the process would look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I try and be highly customized because everyone's different where they're at, when their sales knowledge and experience. So I really try and identify where they're at and, do they want or need to work one-on-one, first of all. I'm happy to help people like that. Do they want more kind of a group setting? Some people do benefit from group coaching as well. And then we have these other tools as well, the Sales Genius tools as well. And kind of it's a great starter way to get people associated with the work that we do as well. So, but really, yeah, it's really like I said, I try and highly customize it, but it's kind of three core things that I try and do. And if they've already got an organization, so if they've got a sales team already, I'm happy to go in and assess the sales team for them and give them some ideas on how to improve things, and come up with some ways to improve their sales performance. Or if they've got a customer service team that they want to improve, we were able to help a Fortune 500 company get JD Powers 7 years in a row as a result of the training we provided, which is extremely rare, and break sales records on top of it from a sales perspective through upselling. So we know this stuff works and it's ethical as well. But really, any type of challenge, revenue challenge, customer service challenge, people challenge, I love to help and just see how it can be a benefit.
Would you be able to share with us a success story?
Absolutely. So, I'll share with someone recently here. Just work with a woman by the name of Susan. I met her through a networking group, that mutual networking group, but she's been in marketing. She's probably 40 plus years and struggled with sales. And came to me and says, Scott, I unfortunately, my mind kind of goes blank sometimes from a sales perspective. She said, "Are you able to handhold me through that process? Can we work together?" So I work with her, and she did a fantastic job. Great partnership. This was just recently. She put a great unsolicited testimonial, pardon me, on both LinkedIn as well as Alignum. So anyone of any experience, like I said, someone like Susan, who's a professional but just struggle with sales skills. It's just so I love helping. Or someone who's just starting out in sales or starting their career out and just needs someone to handhold them through that process. And I love helping folks.
What's interesting is because you mentioned sales, and earlier you had alluded that pretty much everyone's in sales. It doesn't really matter which industry you're in, what you're doing. Even if you have a job, you're in sales. You're selling yourself every single day, and NLP can help within that realm. So this is not just for salespeople from your perspective.
Could not agree more, John. Absolutely. No, it is not just for salespeople, or it's for anyone who wants to be more persuasive. There's no way around it. We've got to be more persuasive. And with the competitive job environment that everyone's in now, learning how to persuade and influence is absolutely key because it impacts your marriage, impacts your relationships. Every other aspect of our life is impacted in how we communicate.
Would you be able to share with us one NLP exercise that most of us can benefit from?
Yeah, absolutely. So to me, rapport building is foundational. With rapport, you can do anything. Without it, you can do nothing. Tony Robbins says that. I agree 100%. It's very, very, very true. So there's a number of different ways of building building rapport. Pardon me. You can look for things that you have in common. So you can look for things like the weather, sports scores, and teams, and that type of thing. But then there's other things that you can look at as well. So things like their rate of speech. So this is one that I find younger people, and I struggle with when I was younger too. I spoke way, way, way too fast. I still talk fast, but just being aware of your pace of speech and slowing down based on the person that you're speaking to, especially if you're a younger person speaking to an older person and someone who's in authority. You have to, now if they're a fast talker, then you can speak faster as well. But typically, I find the rate of speech is just one of those core things that just matching their pace of speech is absolutely key, foundational for that. And then doing things, looking at key words that they use. So what we call parrot phrases. So maybe there's some key words they use, and instead of paraphrasing, you don't want to shorten it. You want to use parrot, like a parrot's back a word, use the exact words back. So for example, if they call something cool, you want to use the word cool back to describe something. If they use the word if they say, bright lights, you want to use, say, bright lights. Any kind of core words that they use, you want to paraphrase those words back to them. That's super, super key as well. I work with an architectural firm that was building a SaaS platform, and that was one of the client, or one of the things that I coached them on, is just being aware of very specific words that they were using in their description. So they were talking about the fact that they had a client who wanted a very brightly lit, magnificent conference room. So use the exact same words back with them. A very bright lit, magnificent conference room back in your proposal. And it was just instant report. Oh yeah, you got me. That is exactly what the client wanted to hear. So just being very aware of things like that can make all the difference in the world. Because what it does is communicate on a very, very deep level that you understand them. And you pick up on these key phrases, and we think sometimes, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. People are going to pick up on it. No one picks up on it. I've been training and doing this for 30 plus years. Nobody picks up. People appreciate it, because what you're doing is speaking their internal language. This is how they speak, and they appreciate it back to them. And it is just one of the very subtle ways of building rapport and paraphrasing back some of the key words that they use absolutely to core level. Helps move that sale forwards, or move that communication forwards, whether it's a customer service interaction or a sales or anything, a boss that you're trying to communicate with as well.
Is there ever too much?
No, not really. Not that I've seen. Honestly, people don't pick up on it. They really don't. I had a boss once, and he and I, for whatever reason, didn't get along. And I was first learning some of these skills, and his name was Ron. And Ron would always put his hands behind his head when he talked. So one day I just decided, what the heck, I'll do the same thing. So he would sit back in his chair. So I just did the same thing. We would bring up an issue. I just put my hands back behind my head and leaned back and did the exact same thing Ron did. And we just started talking. And from there on, we hit it off. I mean, we became great friends as a result of that. And he became a mentor of mine, gave me testimonials on LinkedIn, all these subtle things. So it's just entering the other person's world. And like I said, all this stuff just happens on a subconscious level. And it's just being aware of how we all communicate already.
I love that.
And a lot of times you can tell people who are in rapport, even in relationships. If you go to a restaurant, you see people on a date, you can see people who's leaning in to each other, right? Versus people who are leaning out. Or, you'll see a lot of times younger people, specifically more younger women, who will speak much faster with each other, and they start matching each other's body language as well. Their friend will lean in and they'll lean in. Their friend will lean out and they'll lean out. This is all natural. And this is how we're all hardwired to do. So just being aware of that and how others are communicating, I mean, it's just a great subtle way to build rapport. And it's an ongoing skill set as well there.
You had mentioned earlier that you have a partner on the app, Nadia. And does she have the same training, or are you both trying to mirror each other at all times?
No, she's brilliant at designing AI and technology. That's her genius. So, and that's where it came together, and she knows that stuff and was able to just take all the stuff that we developed over the years of learning this stuff and just develop it into the most cutting edge tools out there for communication.
Scott, if listeners remember only one thing from this episode, what would you want that to be?
I would say that it's just so important to remember to always be improving your communication skills with other humans. As long as we're alive and breathing, we all have a purpose. And we've got to just figure out what each of our unique purpose is, and how do we tap into that, and how do we leverage communication and advanced communication and just continue to get better. Because communication is one of those things that's just not like a one and done type of thing. It really is an ongoing effort to study that. And, not just me, obviously, there's tons of other people out there that are offering different types of trainings and stuff. But I think it's so, so important, such a key skill to anything you want to do in life is just to continue to improve. And how do you learn to present it in the most persuasive way possible and influential possible, and just always be thinking win-win, in everything that you do is so, so key there. Just that we continue to think win-win in everything that we do here. Because, rapport building, that matching and mirroring, that's great. But people will pick up too if you're not a trustworthy person. So being someone of integrity and someone who has that core level of trust is absolutely key as well. So, because people pick up on it, and so it doesn't matter how much matching and mirroring you do. At the end of the day, people pick up if you're not your core good person. But I'm sure all your listeners, Joe, are good humans, or I'm sure they wouldn't be dialing and listening to you. So just, as long as you have positive intention, people pick up on that.
Totally agree. Some of the best listeners out there.
One other thing is you could do is just look for ways to build rapport, after this. When you go out, if you go somewhere and get coffee, even with the barista, people love it. Start just matching, mirroring maybe some of the hand gestures that they use back to them. Just subtle things like that. People love it. Pick up on some of the key words that they use and give them a compliment as well there. People love that. And just start being aware of it. And it's just a great way to start building a better world around you when we're aware of how we're communicating. Because we're always communicating, even if we're saying nothing at all, we're always communicating. So I think being aware of that as well, and just, how do you be more effective at it?
Absolutely. Now, where can the audience connect with you, find out more about you, the app, and continue this conversation?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to natural-persuasion.com, and all our information is there. We've got a link to Sales Genius as well there, as well as the ongoing trainings that we're doing that we've got coming up here throughout the year. So everything is there, and we've got, and then you can also sign up for our newsletter as well there. So a weekly update that we send out.
Scott, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your insights. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me, Joe. This has been a blast. Really enjoyed getting to know more about you and your business, and just really would love to support anyone out there any way I can. Any communication challenges they may be having with their business, I'm happy to help.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for listening. If this episode inspired you, share it with someone who needs it. And don't forget to follow the Glovisor Podcast for more conversations that make an impact. Till the next time.